Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Director. I appreciate all your work on reducing the number of rules and regulations. For an agency to get rid of a rule or regulation under normal procedure of the EPA, how long does it take?
It takes most of the time over a year, quite some time.
Yes. Do we have rules and regulations that exist that are in violation of the Supreme Court's decision in the West Virginia versus EPA case and Loper Bright?
Possibly, Senator. One doesn't immediately come to mind, but the way that we have interpreted those two decisions would be extremely cautious with the discretion that exists in the law. For instance, expanding to a larger participant in a market that the last director did and got CRA. That's the kind of thing where we've used our caution greatly.
Well, here's my suggestion. As you, I'm sure know, Mr. Director, there is a good cause exception to the notice and comment requirements of the EPA. And basically the EPA says, I think the words it uses, if there's an existing rule and regulation that is contrary to the public interest, an agency doesn't have to go through the 1-year process. The agency can just unilaterally say this is not in the public interest. Now, if an existing rule and regulation is in violation of Loper Bright and West Virginia v. EPA, why couldn't our agencies take an aggressive posture and just say it violates the Constitution as interpreted by the United States Supreme Court, and it is no more?
We can, and in my OIRA hat, we have put out guidance to that effect to make sure the agencies know that. Here's the tension, just so we're all clear. The courts haven't necessarily caught up with that understanding of the statute, and so for those big rules that we are concerned about, that we want the opportunity to defend during our time in office, the tension is a strategic one about which ones we use and why as a
Well, they're going to sue you anyway, no matter what you do, because every one of these rules or regulations is making somebody money. Now, it's costing our business community a lot of money, which I know in part leads to higher prices because those costs are passed on. But I would strongly encourage you, since you're going to be sued anyway, to make use of the good cause exception to the EPA. Clearly, if you look at a statute and it violates, or a rule, and it violates West Virginia v. EPA or Loper Bright, that's contrary to the public interest, and there's your standard. And I would strongly encourage y'all to do that. Just if you can give me a ballpark number, how many rules and regulations have you gotten rid of or are trying to get rid of?
Well, right now, the President gave us a goal of 10-to-1 deregulatory to 1. We achieved 6 in the first term. 10 I thought might be a harder challenge.
Sure.
We did 129-to-1 in the first term, and we think we're going to have similar levels of success.
Is that in the thousands?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. My second point is doesn't require a response, but I want you to think about something. Inflation is back. Now, we all have our opinion about the cause. I think it's more than just the conflict in Iran. But that's a debate for another day. We have to give people relief in the cost of living. I really would ask you to consider through the agency you're now director of or otherwise, giving people some relief on their medical debt being reported to the rating agencies. I'm not saying wipe out their debt. I'm not saying that. I don't know whether it's legitimate or not, but nobody understands when you go to the hospital, you get a bill, and nobody can ever explain it. But the collectors report that debt to the rating agencies, which ruins people's credit, which makes it harder for to pay the money back. Now, my friends, and I'm coming, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much.
But I've got 10 seconds under the Reed rule.
You've just used up 6 of them, though.
I know. I really think you ought to give some people some relief from medical debt, at least, if not permanently, temporarily. Just don't report it to the rating agencies. Give them a break. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You've been very indulgent.